Brand Capital. Akudo Nweke is head of legal, secretarial and regulatory. And I'm the gate man. The gate man, the one that opens the door and closes the door.
Absolutely. So it's so good to have you on this platform today. And of course, we've reverted to the new normal, which is COVID has prevented us from having some of these physical interviews, and also, but we're enjoying it and adapting very well. So very quickly, I will be interchanging the questions with my colleagues, but I'll go first. And my first question is, like you said, you've come with streams of successes, as it were, in the oil and gas industry. You have a visible track record. That's why we could actually find you at Platform Capital, and of course your project, the Duport Midstream. Can you share some of your experience, in building this largely successful venture?
I think I have more failures than success. I think one of the things that I used my life, I've committed my life to doing, is to telling more about the failures and the successes.
Interesting.
Because I think it will be a misinformation if you focus on the things that went right and not the things that didn't go right. Okay. Because success itself is born out of failing. The more you fail, the more you are likely to succeed. And I thought that has been the story of my life. My background first was in engineering. I was an engineer back in the 90s. I studied in Nigeria, chemical engineering. And when I was an engineer in NNPC, for a couple of years, I was pretty frustrated about the inability of projects being executed for loads of reasons. And biggest one was finance. So I said to myself, let me go and learn this finance thing they're talking about. Because I didn't spend 5 years in engineering school plus 2 years of ASU strike to now come back and just be an operator. So I left engineering, I think 24 years ago thereabouts, to finance, where I did banking. And along the way, I also dabbled into a lot of telecoms, for banking and finance for a long time. I did my CFA exams, also then did private equity and investment banking for about 20 years. And after that 20 years, I made sure I did a lot of investments, not only in other sectors, but I focused on, I did a lot of investments in energy space, be it infrastructure through terminals, storages, be it energy through power plants, be it gas processing plants. So I did a lot of energy, engineering, oil and gas investments, where I backed people at my former shop called Synergy Capital in all these areas, from energy to storages to gas, and basically trying to move the narrative of investment in this sector by locals. Because I genuinely believe that the only way we can solve our problem on the continent is a local approach, which means global perspective, local input, local. We build global businesses, global positioning, global standards using local inputs. Call it glocal. That then means that local cannot just be in terms of services. It must be capital, it must be people, it must be experience, it must be regulatory, it must be all of it. We can spend as much time as we like blaming government or blaming banks or blaming anybody. We all are to blame. Nation building is nobody's job, it's everybody's job. So I spend that time building that expertise in understanding how do we figure out things to work. Where are the areas where we think that we can have the best impact with the optimal resources, where a mix of capital, regulatory partnership, expertise, and international collaboration can unlock and create most value. And I felt it was a midstream space, right? Because the upstream space has been significantly researched, invested. We know how much oil we have. Nigeria is a gas country, not an oil country. We have 800 times more gas than oil. We have our database. We have international companies in there. We know how much data we have. And from exploration it just goes offshore quickly, it goes away, right? So we know that. We have all sorts of sexy, fancy equipment in Nigeria that are doing a lot of deep shore, deep water drilling or shallow water drilling. We do all that very well. But we just have not been able to take that commonwealth that's in our ground that we export to share wealth as a nation to the consumer. So we export it, we then import the produce. And that for me was an interesting phenomenon because over time, there's been a gap in infrastructure investment in midstream infrastructure, be it refinery, be it pipeline, be it processing. And it's not just oil and gas, across most sectors, including power itself. But, and with my experience being as an engineer and an investor, having traveled around the world, I realized technology has evolved to the point where you can genuinely use modular, scalable engineering solutions to start to change the narrative, to start to get our commonwealth, which God has given us as a nation, into shared wealth of our people. Should we keep buying diesel or petrol at high prices? No, when we produce them, if you can refine them locally, yes, we know our pipeline, but there are solutions where we can put modular refineries that are not very, very big, near small fields, can start producing. Should we just focus on refinery alone of the AGO or diesel or petrol? Okay, no. Gas also is cleaner, is cheaper. We're a gas country. We have now 100 times more gas than power. Why don't we focus on that as well and do a lot more of that? Can we then marry gas, power, and refining together into one place? So I designed this concept of energy park. And I went after it, put our resources, got a lot of support from government. I can tell you this, I mean, I cannot sit down and tell you that government is useless. No, the government policy is what I'm leveraging on. They put in place a robust infrastructure, the DPR itself, a very robust licensing regime that encourages people like us to come and register and apply for licenses. The Ministry of Petroleum Resources have been very helpful. The environmental, Ministry of Environment, very, very supportive in our EIAs. So we leverage policies that have been ground. You can keep complaining, but a lot of work has been done by government over the years. We did our research. We found out the policies were there. We put a team together. We started the journey. We had an agreement with our upstream partner, Summit, a very, very good, great partner to us. We had an agreement with them, and we bought land near them so that we reduce size of pipeline. Also, you can reduce things like vandalization, security, all the issues. So lower OPEX. So we got land near them. We engaged with the host community, where we partner with them, give them a lot of indirect jobs. We started building. We got international companies to do our design for us. Could done before, and just built it. We just felt, why do the refinery alone? And the field we have has gas. Why flare gas? Take that gas that are flaring, convert it into CNG, LPG, LNG. Take that crude, refine it, start producing power from that, and create that power plant. It's been an interesting journey. I've summarized a journey of about 3-4 years in a few minutes. Yes. You can imagine what my eyes have seen.
Absolutely.
Right? But for me, they say you're going to go where nobody has gone. You see what nobody has seen before. What I see, though, is the possibilities that can come out of this. Is that with us, with doing Duport, every young engineer can listen to my story and say, if an engineer from Nigeria can go on and do the first energy park, I can do better. If an engineer can do this, we can go to the moon. I don't know. For us, there will be challenges. There will always be challenges. But do you see your challenges as a blocking stone or a stepping stone or a cornerstone? Do you see any stone in front of you as a stepping stone or a cornerstone? I've turned every challenge, every block in my way to a stepping stone and made the cornerstone of my story. Because eventually, until we start taking our destiny to our hand and creating solutions that are homegrown, this is a full global partnership. OEMs partner with local companies. We offer 70% local content. The refineries are being built from Texas, but they're being assembled locally here. When it gets here, the infrastructure is being built locally here. The guys doing the fire service are local. The guys doing the gas infrastructure are local. It is huge. And the guys are being trained. We're training people, we're hiring people, we're scaling up. For me, it's that partnership, it's that possibilities. If you take a man's hope away, you take a man's future away. Take a man's future away, there's a dead man, he has no soul. And I refuse to accept that narrative that we can't. We have commonwealth. How about we talk about shared wealth? How about we work together as a team? How about we collaborate? How about we work with even regulators to let them see if we think they don't get it, we educate them. Let me give an example. When we're doing our license with a DPL, our first license was a refining license, ATC license, authority to construct. LTE was the first license, then ATC to construct. During our ASOP, the next thing, you have been an energy park. We said, yes, gas, this, but you have to get a separate license for each one. They have never licensed an energy park before. They are licensed a gas plant before, licensed a refinery before, a power plant before, all in one area. So they also had to step up. So collectively, we learned and we got better together. Collectively, the DPR became extremely good at understanding the synergies, the commonalities, the shared infrastructure. We got better at understanding the safety, the regulatory, the flow. The NCDMB, the Nigerian Content Development Board, has been phenomenally supportive, not only in capital, in training, in guidance, in counseling. Now put all the back behind the Minister of Petroleum, who has just been a champion, a superstar for local content for gas. So again, it's about communicating our story. And my colleagues here, Akudo, Lekon, all of them that you don't know, who come to work every day looking for, I promise you, you don't understand the scale of our problems, from design to this, to that, to community, to for every challenge is a stone in front of you.
Wow.
What will that stone be? A stepping stone to a cornerstone, or a wall, a block? If you accept that as a wall as a block, that's a dead end. I refuse to see any wall as a block. Any wall ahead of me is a stepping stone to a cornerstone.
Awesome. I mean, the passion for this business is very palpable. I'm not there, but I could tell, I could actually feel it. And if you ask me, you have a second, you might pick up a second job on the pulpit. You wouldn't do very badly. This is very interesting. You know, that's, I mean, I could actually literally feel the passion, and that's what we're talking about. That's why, that's the first key. That's the ingredient. That's why we can see what we're seeing everywhere. And that brings me to my next question. You've listed some of the challenges, and you've listed some of the things that you have to go through to be where you are today. My question is, there are actually ingredients that makes Duport different from every other company in the oil and gas industry. What are some of those? Could it be operational policies? Could it be, you know, in-house style? Could it be the team members? There is something suddenly that stands you out from the rest. Can you tell me what that is?
I'll tell you a few things, because thank you for that. Because Duport is more than energy park we're building. The energy park we're building on a project. Duport itself, it's so first is at Duport, right? Duport is a family. And I know everybody says this, it's a cliche. I'll tell you differently. People here at Duport work because we all have one common purpose. What makes Duport Midstream Company Limited different from other companies is our shared goal of making a narrative that is positive out of this generation, of turning all our negative energies around and channeling it into positivity to create something that people coming behind you can say, if they can do that, we can do that. We have just one shared goal at Duport Midstream Company Limited. We want to make a difference. We want to show that we are not just people who consume, we also produce. Everybody here is experienced. Listen, we're not the highest paying company in the oil and gas industry by a mile, but I have the best colleague here by a mile. I come to people every day who are solution driven. You know why? Because from day one, people have told us we can't do what we're doing. It's not possible. In that impossibility lies the magic of possibility. Okay? So people that come here are looking for that challenge driven. People that come here are self-starters. They are self-motivated. Elon Musk said recently, if you're looking for motivation, quit being an entrepreneur, go and get a job. Everybody here is an intrapreneur. That means they work here, but they have an entrepreneurial mindset, which is solution driven. What makes us different is that we do not lie to ourselves. We set our goals. We work at executing them. We stick together. When we bleed together. When we have fun together. We are a team. The family that the guys that you work with every day of 12 hours a day is your family. But most importantly, the joy of building the first energy park by people here who are 95% homegrown. Local schools here, most of us, local engineers, local lawyers, local designers, most of us. It shows that we are not a wasted generation. But most importantly, shows what is possible if you then have vision. And well, that vision is well missioned and built on a foundation of a strategic positioning that unlocks value in an ecosystem of opportunities supported by an enabling environment. And that is the core that makes us different.
Wow, interesting. We probably would take a course separately on that, some of the systems that is working for Duport, because we actually need to scale it up across the board so that we can build more companies like. I'd like to just turn it over to my colleague, Kembet, for the next question. They're all itching, I'm sure, to have a go at our chairman here. Kembet, please. Kembet, you're muted. You're muted.
I'm sorry about that. I was so excited to speak. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask, the Nigerian government recently passed into law the petroleum industry bill. So how will this bill influence the growth of the oil and gas industry in Nigeria?
So thank you, but it has not been passed yet. So I don't know if it was meant to have been passed in April.
Yes.
It hasn't been passed yet, right? But I think the trust of the bill is trying to get the oil and gas regulatory framework into more 21st century, make it actually even more market-driven practice, right? So, for example, beyond the fact that it's going to change things like the regulatory, the fiscal, the administrative, and the governance systems and policies in oil and gas, it brings some sanity in a lot of areas. And I think there are a lot of winners from this. For example, the gas sector is a major winner from this, right? In the gas sector, the tax advantages from producing gas, also not just for oil and gas companies, also for industries that are using gas. There are a lot of tax benefits from gas there. You have incentives like in the past, one company can do upstream, midstream, downstream. Now you have to have separate companies doing the same thing. Can be the same owner, but now why is that important though? Because, for example, let me take Duport, for example. Duport is a business. Our focus on because as we evolve, is not part of our under the new bill. Duport cannot go as an upstream company. You have to go as a separate company because it allows for specialization. The specialist skills as a midstream company is different from specialist skills as an upstream company. You have to finding partners, investors, engineers that will help you also become specialists so that each sector has the specialist resources allocated to it. So it's not one capital anymore. It's companies dedicated to expertise. That's another advantage. I think one very positive for government though is the penalties. From a penalty point of view, the penalties have increased significantly from as low as 20,000 to as high as 20 million in some cases. So that's penalties for not paying your royalties on time, penalties for even defaulting and not paying. Those penalties are a lot more punitive. So that it's now more preventive. People actually want to do the right thing earlier on. And of course, there are other areas like splitting up the regulatory environment into an upstream regulator and a mid and downstream regulator. Who now have, because really, you have one person regulating upstream, regulating midstream or downstream may not be the best because the skills again are separate. The understanding is separate, as we've seen. Having that regulatory oversight difference. And lastly, but most importantly, is the trust arrangement that communities will now get. They now have a trustee, a trust structure that the host community benefits from, who then takes on the CSR initiative. So it's no more oil companies talking to kings or chiefs. It's no more people talking to Duke. Now the trust structure. In finance, we call it intergenerational protection. You are protecting generations to come because the trust then has a mandate to develop the host community so that again, and that's my mantra, common wealth becomes shared wealth, and shared wealth leads to personal wealth, and that's what happens with that.
Awesome. That's
Thank
interesting.
you.
That's interesting. Ekene, would you like to step in?
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Dr. Akintoye. It's a pleasure having you here, sir. I want to support what my colleague, Mr. Akintoye has said. I think he would also do well even as an educationist, because even in this short few minutes we've spent, I have already taken something very, very tangible from your conversation. Now to the questions, sir. What are your projections for the future concerning the oil and gas industry in Nigeria? And how best do you think, as a continent, Nigeria can create a thriving environment for businesses like yours who also want to be represented on the global stage?
Okay, so listen, for me, it's an ecosystem mentality. I think my life is more than my job. My life is a sum of all my activities, right? For example, I'm a faculty member at the University of Lagos, where I teach in their masters and doctorate programs.
That
explains
I
I've lectured at Harvard and a few places, but I then decided to say, large is where I want to put a lot of my time. And I'll tell you why, to answer your question, because that's where you can make the most impact. That's where, you see, you can't keep putting effort on where it needed the least. Let me explain. You see, this whole thing is about oil and gas starts from everything, from education, right? Education of those future engineers, education of those future policymakers, education of those future government people. Education is key. And hence, I mentioned education. So I don't get paid in Lagos. Everything I get paid goes to charity. But to start there, I first then said, how do I deliver world-class content to people? My capital company then worked with the university to develop a world-class business school can compare to anybody in the world, fully fitted out. You can Google it on the pictures, fully fitted out business school, full infrastructure, 24 hours. I mean, it competes with anywhere in the world. If you go to the campus of University of Lagos Business School, you would think you are anywhere in the world. Why is that important? So we can attract the best minds to come and study there, whether from regulator or government or investors, can attract the best partnerships. To answer your question, the future for Nigeria going forward is collaboration. I'll tell you, collaboration comes in various ways. Maybe via investment collaboration, maybe via technology transfer, maybe via skills transfer, maybe via third-party partnership. We have to collaborate more, because the law of comparative advantage says that each of us have a brain pair or strong guard. It's not about competitive advantage alone. You get competitive advantage when you mobilize your competitive advantage together as a people, as a nation, as a tribe. You see, we have all these resources and we are operating in silos. So first is the silo mentality has to change. How to change? By getting the best of people to work and network together an environment. By getting the word out there that, listen, if I have gas, as a way I have gas in Edo State, there is already infrastructure built by Nigerian gas company that can pick up my gas in Calabar or Lagos State. I just have to partner. Collaboration. For some reason, we believe that owning it alone is the only way. No, you can't collaborate. You don't have to co-invest. You can partner. You can share resources. You can share people. You can share ideas. Collaboration is extremely key to the future of oil and gas in Nigeria. Collaboration between public and private sector. Collaboration between private and private sector. Within government. I think in the era of technology, where technology is now available, where people are seeing technologies that can help us optimize yields, collaboration will be forced on us, like it or not. Look at us, for example. We've had to collaborate with our host community, with our regulators, with our suppliers. That's the only way things get done. You cannot do it alone. That's the first thing. So collaboration, I think you see a lot more of that. I think in the marginal field round by the oil and gas industry, they paired a lot of people together. I'm hoping that those guys can collaborate together. that can have 5 people on a field together and develop it. We can all step aside and say, yes, we want to be owners, but who is the best person that can develop this field? Why? Based on expertise. Listen, I think the challenge we need to understand is there's just so much on the table here. Our gas reserves are over about 900 times our oil and gas reserves. Qatar has made gas their gold. We have other resources. Imagine what we can do to our gas. If we can unlock our gas, we can solve our power problems, unleash major productivity. So you're going to have oil and gas companies partner with power companies, partnering, collaboration. You see people that want to invest, coming to bring capital. So I have capital. You have expertise. You have know-how. You have experience. We need to collaborate to get that future. But that future is bright because the policies are already in place. I'm optimistic. Listen, I can tell you 1,001 things wrong with Nigeria. I will not stop. But guess what? The few things that are right, if I focus on that, we can dent and change that narrative gradually. Policy is right. It's getting better with the bill being passed. Resources are there. More are being discovered. People are there, getting more skilled. Regulator is there, getting more exposed. Capital is there, getting more available. Why can't we just leverage that and build the country that we desire? And that's what for me. So it is going to get better. I believe the prospects are strong. And I think the oil price regime that crashed forced us to look inwards without then build better solutions that enable us, again, consume what we produce and export the balance, which way it should be, rather than not export the balance and consume what has been processed. And that's my thought. I believe our ecosystem over the next 10, 50 years will be fully developed. I think upstream will be downstream to the midstream. I think we'll then extend to other verticals of gas and power. And I definitely think so. I think a lot of work has been done. I've read a lot of the policies, and I like, again, people may say to me that, I'm speaking too much about Nigeria and positive. Negative is the easiest thing to be. But negative has never done anything right in the history of mankind. Positivity is the only way to dent negative. A lifetime is too short to focus on negativity. I'm about what is possible, and I think magic is possible in Nigeria.
Awesome. Awesome. You've talked so well about collaborations and partnerships. I'd like to, I'm sure you're pretty conversant with this this popular saying in Africa, that when you want to go fast, you go alone. When you want to go far,
you go together.
So I'm sure that supports the narrative of partnerships, but also partnerships can make or mar a business or a project. Yeah. We've seen you've attributed some of your successes to strategic partnerships that have helped in building your business. What do you look out for when seeking partners for each of your projects? I'm sure a lot of people will do, it will be beneficial to a lot of people that will read or listen to this interaction if they can look for those so that they don't fall into the trap of having partners, but partners that are, of course, doing a disservice to the project or the business.
So I'll start that answer by quoting what you just said. If you want to go fast, go alone. Yeah. If you want to go further, go together. In there lies one statement: going somewhere.
Yes.
Any partner you must have, you must be going somewhere together. First, define where that way is. To choose a right partner, a scientific partner, technical partner, and partner, you must both have a shared vision.
Yeah.
No matter how good the relationship is, no matter how smooth it is, if your vision is not mutually shared, you will not work. Your values will be different because the values are ways in which you get your vision. So, for example, if I'm trying to build the first integrated energy park where I'll engage 100 students in Nigeria, we'll do AGO, we'll do this, and my partner wants to build a PMS system that will export.
Yeah.
Will not work.
It won't work. It won't work.
So first is shared vision. Where are we going? Both of you must first define your vision together. When you agree on that vision, set out clearly expectations of both sides. My biggest partner is Summit Oil. Summit Oil has been fantastic They are my feedstock provider. They've been fantastic. They've been supportive. They've been really, really partners. They've carried the can with me because the benefit to them is beyond just what they are able to monetize from that, is that they have been in that host community for me. I met them there. They were happy for the host community to develop better. They're happy for this. The chairman, Kolabella and Wurabella, are so patriotic Nigerians who want development. Of course, their father was like that, so anyway, so it makes sense. So they want development. We're both development focused. We're both value focused. We're about retention of value. Major partner in feedstock. So every time we had a problem, we work together to solving it. DPR, my regulator, from day one, educating them what we're trying to do, and that's it. And they also having a new leader who also has a vision of making Nigeria self-sufficient. It's very important. We are going the same way. Develop. You don't want to come and just take a license and keep it. Take a license and use it. Major. My investors, NCDMB, about local content. We are about local content. We are about local people. Again, major. My OEMs, the ones that are abroad, knowing that these guys are about local content, they're about development, they're about time, they're about efficiency, looking for local partners who they can then work with to meet our criteria. To choosing a partner, first is agree on your destination.
Absolutely.
Then find your fellow travelers and reinforce the destination as often as possible. Don't assume because you said you won't remember it. Reinforce it. Listen. Accommodate. Bend. Be flexible. But the journey is extremely important, because with the journey and who you go with, it's extremely important that you all see where you're going with together. Because how will you know where you're going when you get there if you don't know it?
Yeah, absolutely true. Let me turn it up before I take the last question. Let me turn it up to my colleague. I'm sure she's let her take the next question before I round it up with just one more question. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So very interesting about partnership there. I must say I have learned a lot from that. So away from partnership, Duport has worked towards improving the environment in which it operates in. I understand there's a lot of CSR that Duport has been engaged in. So can you tell us about some of those projects? The CSR projects that Duport company has engaged in.
So again, let me take a step back. I'm from the school of I'm from the Akintoye school of thought that says every enterprise must start with 3 P's. Like 3 P's: people, profit, and planet. It's only when people, profit, and planet are in tandem that the enterprise will be sustainable and be a going concern. So if you are focused on profit alone and you don't take care of your people in that area or that work with you, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So for us, triple P is at the core of our business model. With that in mind, CSR is not CSR. CSR is our business model. CSR is SDG goals. So we track our businesses adopt the UN SDG goals of the ones that apply to us. In these ones, we are tracking job creation, 2 indirect jobs we are giving on the work we are doing in the park, 2 infrastructure development, SDG goal, 3 water, we are working with the community to build a big water treatment plant for them. 4, when we go live, we are going to start offering them power at reduced prices, subsidized prices. 5, healthcare. There's a hospital they were already supporting. And we're going to do more. 6, the ecosystem there, the food, the accommodation, everything is there. And this before the park even goes live where we are operating from. When it then goes live, imagine the direct jobs we create. We are about to launch a management training program where we then hire individuals from that area, we'll train them and make them. My vision is that for the next 10 years, the GM of that park is from that area. So that mental icons, people they can believe, a child born, they can say it can be that. Our problem in Africa is mental icons. Once we see what can be done, we are very creative people. So unlocking that possibility is big for us. Management training program is on the way. Scholarships are on the way. But we have a lot of this. It's not stop. CSR, it is not CSR to me, because really, if you look at business model from the triple P model I've explained, it means that it's our business model to reinvest in our environment and our people, because if you not reinvest in our environment and our people, the conveyor belt of value of people, of resources, of systems will dry up. What then? Nothing. So it's a full partnership and it's an ongoing thing. I will continue to do it.
Awesome. 3 Ps. I love that part of the planet.
Yeah, me too.
And just only recently, the speech by the president of the African Development Bank that Africa is not on net zero, is not pursuing net zero, is actually on ground zero when it comes to climate as it were. And all that. So what you're doing is quite interesting. We'll be more than happy to partner with you, even beyond this event, to see how we can consistently showcase this, because this is actually what business is about. Business is about people, and it should be about the planet. Of course, we talk about business beyond profits. So to round up this interview, you have spoken extensively about capacity building and equipping, and you also talked about local engineers, local lawyers, and all the rest of it. And you will agree with me that Nigeria has an army of young people, and because there's been incoherence, so to speak, in terms of strategic development plan for this segment of the people, we do not seem to have a clear picture, a pathway for bequeathing a future that is guaranteed for them. In the oil and gas industry, do you think, or do you foresee a situation where we can carve out a space to encourage more young people to participate? Because a lot of them feel it's a big ticket industry, foreclosed to those who do not have the means, as it were, to play in that industry.
Definitely, it goes back to partnership again. It goes back to opening of the minds again. And I think that the journey, you see, it's like when you take a stone and you throw a stone into the river, it causes ripple. It starts with the first ripple. You don't know what you're going to get to. And let me put that into context. We at Duport have decided that once the park goes live, we'll give internship to 100 engineering students every year, paid internship every year from all the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. We at Duport, we are building more than one park. This is our first park. Another park is happening in Bayelsa Atlantic. Wow. Google it. It's going to go live Q next year. Another park is going live in somewhere in the north, in Ajakuta. It's a gas park. We're going to build one in Ghana. We're not stopping in one park. What am I saying to you? We would like, by the next 5 years, to give internship to 1,000 Nigerian engineers every year, who can then see what is possible with their eyes, who can then network with other engineers from other parts of the world. The problem is, see, I studied engineering in Nigeria. What we are building today, I didn't even see one that time. I read everything in book. Imagine what would have happened if I had seen how to build one, if I had seen one myself. If the students in school today that we claim about are go to bad schools, where they reach, I think they are school abroad, like all of us are doing. If this guy can see how easy or how not difficult it is to build a distillation unit, or a fabrication unit, or a gas processing plant, do you know how much value that will unlock in entrepreneurial activity? Do you know how much job that guy can then go and say, rather than be an employee here, let me be a supplier to a value chain? Do you know what's possible? We are going beyond that. Our workshop will train engineers with the opportunity. I believe if corporate organizations realize that investing in people, in education, in development is not CSR, it's a necessity for their business model. Otherwise, I keep saying, the conveyor belt will dry up. Then they realize that they have to train the next generation. Because if you don't, and you keep importing talent and you're paying premium for it, what happens to that environment that you're making money from? One day, it will dry up. For us, I believe Nigerian youths are amazingly talented. I believe, and because my job with them, either teaching them or speaking to them or working with them, they are. If you ever have a talk about engineers here, they're all young people, young women and men who are doing this thing that is almost impossible. It is possible. Give them a chance, train them, expose them. We are doing that. Can you call on that company to join us? I mean, Mobile, Chevron, and Shell, I think they've done enough. They've done their part. I don't know how much they can go. I can't speak to their system. But in this whole midstream, downstream, gas, power, value chain, where fabrication, processing, where the science, the chemistry is not that complex, I will invite you to come and see our present plant. The science is not that complex. Guys, 30 years ago, terminals was built by foreign companies alone, all tank farms. Now we are bringing them in Nigeria. I promise you, in the next 15 years, refineries will build locally in Nigeria. By the way, they're already doing it in creeks anyway. I do the tip on the creeks.
Yes.
They'll get better.
Yeah.
They'll get better. We'll educate better. There is no way. The future is black. The future is Africa. We are coming. You can't stop us. Our future is young, and we are young. And I believe that massively.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. If one wasn't pretty certain that you are too committed to building committed to this industry, we'll probably be expecting to see you, probably maybe looking to run or go for an office, because
No.
that's what I said. I mean, you have to.
I don't think politics is the only way to. Nation building is everybody's job.
Yes.
The people that built America were not politicians. People that built politics is not, nation building is not a political job. It's everybody's job. Everybody is the head of state in his own house, in his own area, in his own region. Do your part. It's a network of everybody doing their part that changes the narrative. Not politicians. We should start looking inwards. Not leave politicians alone. Look inwards, do your own part. Let everybody do his own part. If I do my part, we're going to build a nation anyway. Africa will survive despite governance, not because of governance. Absolutely. It is written.
No, it's we can stay on this platform for so long enough listening to. I mean, you've inspired us with this meeting, and I can tell you, we've had in the past 13 years, we've spoken to leaders, we've spoken to business leaders, but every time we speak to someone who has a unique mandate, so to speak, for his given industry, we know. And I can guarantee you that the last few minutes has been quite, for us, has been quite revealing. And it will not be the end of the conversation, trust me. If after this event, we'll try to see how we can also consistently promote what Duport is about, and see how we can, of course, share some of these visions with others who should also emulate, so that we can have a thriving, not just country, but continent. And like you said, the future is black. And there is no stopping. That is the message that we at African Leadership continue to preach at our events. And I'm confident that this is one of such events where you also, the platform would also be there. We'll be excited to have you speak to a broader audience during that event. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We are also in talks with a couple of presidents and vice presidents and ministers who are supposed to grace that event. We are also having a review meeting tomorrow morning on that event. I'm quite confident that that platform would also be a good place for a lot of people would catch this buzz, and the more, like you said, people get to understand that these things are possible. Even you might be, some people at the leadership level still believe that these things are trial and error. They don't believe that it's possible. They are whiling away time. But with conversations like this, you tend to begin to win over people who are naturally skeptics from that. Again, I thank you so much for your time. And I don't know if you have a parting word before we'll call it a day. What's your parting word for us and for our readers and, of course, our listeners that are going to watch the video eventually?
What will I say? Impossible is not Africa.
Yeah.
That's a
Impossible in Africa. Impossible in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is possible in this continent. We are from a very rich heritage and history. We are from a heritage of scientists who first discovered algebra. We are from a race of people who first led mankind on how to build homes and shelter. We had people come here and learn governance as far back as from Portugal in the 1600s. We are from a people who built the largest man-made structure in the world in the Benin Kingdom Wall City, the British level in 1897. We are from a people who have always made history. African history are synonymous words. I'm African, Nigerian. It's my world. It's my time. It is time. It's ours. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think a round of applause would suffice at this stage. Thank you. It was great. It was great having this conversation with you. I'm sure when my team members are transcribing this interview, they will do a lot of playbacks, because you can get tired of, some of this. Each of this can be framed as words on marble. It's quite a, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Akudo. Thank you, Eyitemi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Akudo. She has been
Thank you very much.
supportive.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So we'll see you again. I would
Bye-bye.
continue the conversation off this platform. Thank you.